and welcome to The Studio Demands It, an exercise in creative thinking where we will conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film or series based on the demands or stipulations from one of you listeners acting as a hypothetical Hollywood overlord.
You listeners!
As professional screenwriters ourselves and massive cinephiles, we talk movies all the time.
All the time.
And we believe that we could meet any demand thrown at us. We will be your screenwriters for this episode. I am TC DeWitt, and joining me, as always, is Jim Almost Berzelic.
All right.
Almost hero, if you will. You've brought all those heroes up before in this podcast, and I
like that movie.
I want you to sell the movie to me right now, because
what?
I've never seen it.
I know,
and the listeners, none of them have ever seen it either, except at least I know one person who listens to the show that has seen it.
Yeah.
Why should people watch Almost Heroes?
Because I love it.
That's all you need, folks. All right, let's get into the demand for today. No, it's one of your
It is. It's one of my favorite movies. But I will admit it's not a movie that really anyone and everyone's gonna love. So that's a reason I'm not like super excited to be like, you gotta check this out.
See this.
But like I think it has a great pedigree, and I think that's actually one of the things that works against it is you hear who's in it and you go in with expectations,
right?
And that's sort of what undermines it.
Okay, so
it's a Christopher Guest movie, but it's not like
Best in Show
or Waiting for Guffman or any of those. It's like a straight up comedy. It's just hilarious. It's a period piece. It's what if, or not even what if, but there are two other people who are racing to get across the country in the early 1700s, I think.
1800s?
No, it's not 1800s. Lewis and Clark.
Okay, 1800s.
The Lewis and Clark expedition was not the 1800s.
I think Lewis and Clark was the beginning of the 1800s. I'll look it up. Continue.
It was still the colonies when that happened. Anyway,
I have a smug look on my face.
You sure
right
do.
Now. The Lewis and Clark expedition was May 14th, 1804 to September 23rd, 1806.
Right. So like I said, 1716.
Sorry, I didn't. I actually use with the courtesy
that's
of,
fine.
of Google.
It's good to learn. Okay, fine.
So like I
the
said,
1800s.
Yes, thank you.
Sounds like you know this movie better than I do. Why don't you pitch it?
I just
Why don't you
listen.
sell it,
When
TC?
I was in 8th grade, our teacher asked us if we knew any explorers, and he was expecting us to say Marquette and Joliet, and I said Lewis and Clark.
Why
and then
would anyone say Marquette, Joliet?
Everyone laughed at me because they're like, like the Superman show, and I was like, no, Lewis and Clark were explorers too. And then everyone thought I was a dork. But then the teacher did say, no, he is right, but I did mean Marquette and Joliet. Like, everyone makes me look. Lewis and Clark, The Adventures of Superman. So anyway.
What kind of school did you go to?
A public school.
That does explain it.
So there are two explorers.
Yeah. Who want to beat Lewis and Clark to the Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
And
it's Matthew Perry and
Chris Farley. Yep.
Okay.
Eugene Levy is there.
Well, listen.
And a bunch of other funny folk.
If you could convince people to watch this, I like set their expectations. What would you?
Kevin, what was he was the Chicago accent? Kevin Dunn? No, not Kevin. It was Kevin something.
Oh yeah. From Transformers and all that.
Yeah.
I think it is Kevin Dunn.
He's in there. He plays a conquistador.
Kevin Dunn, yeah. Hidalgo.
Yeah.
What should people set their expectations at if they're going to watch this? Tommy Boy? Is it funnier or as funny as Tommy Boy?
I think it's as funny as Tommy Boy.
Okay, there you go.
But other people have not. In my experience, they have not. But it's that kind of funny. Like not quite Naked Gun type humor,
but that level of ridiculousness, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can tell you what.
Like a guy gets A guy gets dragged out. A bear wanders into their camp one evening and drags one of them away. And he shows up later, all torn up and stuff. And he goes, "Shall we chase down the bear and get revenge, sir?" And Matthew Perry, who is a sort of a ponce and coward, says, "No, I think time shall do worst. Will ravage the bear worse than we ever could." And the guy goes, "Revenge is sweet, sir."
Well, you're right. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Based on the only 39 professional critics that have reviewed this movie back in 1998, the same year as Godzilla.
Yep.
It got a 5. It has a 5% on the tomato meter.
Yeah.
Now the audience score is 64%, so you aren't alone in liking this movie.
No, Finn also likes it.
There you go.
Our friend Finn also likes this. Like literally, I would suggest this movie at parties, and we put it on, and I would be cackling with laughter, and everyone else would be bored out of their minds.
I just like that it's in the comparables here. It has Shanghai Nights, Wagons East, and Black Knight, the Martin Lawrence movie.
Wagons East is comparable. I don't know if Shanghai Night is really fair. That's more because it's comedy in a period.
Sure. Okay. Well, I now that because you've brought up Almost Heroes more than once on the show, and now people have at least an idea of what this movie is about based on the title.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go, everyone. Check out Almost Heroes and let Jim know if you loved it. But let's actually move into the demand for the day, because this sort of kind of ties in here.
I'm remembering all the other jokes.
All right. Well,
they lose most of their crew. They're about to leave, and I don't remember how or why, but it's suggested. Something seems to happen where they can suggest going somewhere else. Like they say they're going. Matthew Perry is giving a speech on how this is going to be an arduous, hard trip, but it'll be worth it. But it's going to be so difficult, and he says, and we're going to be forging upriver, and a couple of guys, upriver. That's so much harder. Let's go downriver. Oh yes, down is much easier. We can go right with the water. It'll take us right to New Orleans. Oh yes, New Orleans. New Orleans is wonderful. Oh, the food alone. Oh, the food. And then like 80% of their crew gets excited about going to New Orleans, and they jump in all these boats and take off, and like, oh, we're losing all the men. It's hilarious.
There you go. All right. Well, our demand, Jim, listeners have been giving us demands from studios literally all over the world. And you listening now, you can send us any demand you'd like, and we will have to meet them right here on the spot. And when we reach the end of the episode, if we've done our jobs, we will have pitched a full script and story, or even, wait, remember how many times you're still giggling about Almost Heroes over there. You threw me off because I glanced at you and I just see you silently chuckling to yourself. Go ahead, tell me another one.
So, one of my favorite jokes.
Leaning back with my arms crossed.
You are. One of my favorite jokes is they're going up the river, and Matthew Perry has been writing, mapping everything and naming things.
Upriver. Wouldn't it be easier to go down?
It sure would.
Continue.
He said, Chris Farley's asks him, "What are you doing there?" And he explains that he's naming all these places they're coming across. He goes, "Why don't you give it a shot?" I don't know. You're the learned guy. I'm just the wilderness guy. He's like, give it a shot. Here, name the fork in the river that we're coming across right here. Chris Farley takes a second and goes, "All right, I'm going to name this here fork in the river Pittsburgh Nellie." Oh, that's very... A Welsh whore who could do things with her one good arm that'd make you forget about that thing on her neck. And it was, oh my God, it was amazing.
We've been getting demands from studios literally all over the world. When we reach the end of the episode, we may have crafted the film or script story that might be greenlit by the listeners for the finale. So thank you to everyone who has been submitting. Keep them coming. Today's demand comes from, do you want another moment? Do you want another? You want to
This
ruin the
won't-
movie?
This won't end.
Okay, this is coming from Elton at Elton Studios. You have brought up movies that ultimately didn't live up to the potential of a great title. The studio demands you pitch a movie based solely on a great title like The Man Who Killed Hitler, Then Bigfoot, or Battlefield Earth. Jim,
All right.
so thank you, Elton. This is a very broad demand.
It is.
Essentially, just find good titles that led to bad movies.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen Battlefield Earth.
So have
I
I.
have not seen The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Bigfoot.
I have.
Does that movie live up to its title?
Not the way you want it to.
Okay, that is it. Okay, then that's the idea of the demand.
I actually think it is. It's a good movie. It's a well done movie.
Yeah.
But it's a movie it's about age and getting old
Mm-hmm.
and feeling like I don't know, not necessarily unappreciated, but like
Your time has passed.
getting worn out and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what it's about, and it's well done
Mm-hmm.
for that. But when you hear that title
Yeah.
and you hear it Sam Elliott, you're like, yes,
Yes.
yes, this is gonna kick ass.
Yeah, that's what it's. The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Bigfoot sounds like. Oh, there's gonna be some action sequences in this movie. There's gonna
Yeah.
be some like guns going off and like I'm thinking
And,
Inglorious
yeah,
Bastards
that does not
kind of.
happen.
Well, that
They
is-
they allude to it. They kind of show you like a rehearsal of a scene like that.
Mm,
Is about as violent as it gets when they do sort of the flashback to, because we don't see Sam Elliott doesn't spoiler for The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot.
Mhm.
He has a history. He had killed Hitler, and it's top secret. Nobody knows that he. Oh, that's the other thing is, people don't know. Like getting old and people not knowing what you did. Basically, your deeds, no matter how great,
yeah,
will be lost to time.
because that makes sense. New like time marches on. New
Mhm.
heroes come about.
Mm-hmm.
Legends just fade into the mist. Yeah.
And it's top secret that Hitler had been killed, that he had done it.
Mm-hmm.
But these CIA agents or FBI agents, I forget, government agents, alphabet soup agency agents, do know about him and seek him out because a new thing has happened.
The
There
Bigfoot.
there have been these attacks, and they know it's their job is to keep things like Bigfoot a secret, which is why they also know this secret history of Hitler being killed.
Right.
And this guy is still alive, and they somehow determine he's the only one who can get this job done.
Mm-hmm.
And so they try to recruit him to do it, and he's like, I don't want to do it. And they say, pretty please. And he has to have a heart-to-heart with his brother.
Okay.
And then he does, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna go do it.
And then he hunts down Bigfoot.
Yeah.
The Bigfoot.
Yeah, because what's happened is something has happened to the Bigfoot where Bigfoot has like gotten rabies,
See,
and that's
like,
why he's been attacking people.
everything you're saying sounds awesome, except we don't get to see him actually. Like,
No,
I
like
would.
there's a lot of scenes of like Sam Elliott sitting on his porch being like, no, that's who I used to be.
I'm not that man anymore.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you open this movie like the most recent Indiana Jones. You have a whole 30-minute section of him infiltrating and having to shoot him up and killing Hitler.
And it kind of is, but it's not Gonzo. It's not a big budget movie, so you don't get a crazy cool
Oh, okay.
scene like that.
Yeah.
It's low budget.
Mhm.
But then the other thing to do when you have a low budget is to go Gonzo, something almost like FDR, American Badass. But that is not the tone of this movie. This movie is not, it's werewolves, and that's why I have lycanthropolio or whatever it was. It's not a Gonzo movie like
Mhm.
that. And
With a title like that, it should be. It feels like it should be.
yeah.
Okay. Would you change it to be that? If you were given that title, would you make?
If I was just given that title, that is what
Yeah.
I would have done with it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't have bothered, because that's the other thing, right? Like Sam Elliott plays this guy who was in his 20s, and as like this spy kind of guy, soldier, in World War II,
Mhm.
and I think it takes place in the 60s or 70s when actually I think the 70s, 80, several decades later when
Mhm.
he has to hunt down Bigfoot.
Mhm.
And like that, I guess that's how they justify the age. Or I just would have leaned into, no, Sam Elliott is the ultimate tracker and hunter, and we need to recruit him during World War II,
Mhm.
and he does it, and hooray, the war's over, but not the war at home.
There's more work to be done.
Yeah, and I'd somehow end up tying it together, like somehow the Nazis, as a last ditch effort, as like a suicide mission of attempting mutually assured destruction,
Mhm.
they somehow weaponized Bigfoot, and have set it loose in the
American
hills and forests of North America.
Appalachia.
Yeah, and it's making its way towards Washington,
Towards Washington,
D.C.
D.C. Yeah, for sure.
And so we have to, like, no time to celebrate. We need to send you home.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's the majority of the movie is him hunting and fighting the Bigfoot.
Not even majority, like just the second half.
Well,
right.
I'm saying
Right, you do
the Nazi killing Hitler thing to start the movie.
Oh,
or would you make that
I'd make
45
I'd make
minutes
it
a movie?
like a 5-act movie.
So would you do it in 2 parts then? So like the first part of the movie is the man who killed Hitler, and then the second half of the movie is
it would literally follow the title: The Man Who Killed Hitler and then Bigfoot.
I considering how not wacky, like Gonzo's the best word for it. When the movie title would come up, I'd put the man who killed Hitler, and then start the movie, and then after that is done, and fade to black and kick in the second half of the movie is like, and Bigfoot.
Yeah,
or put that at the end of the movie.
I wouldn't want the killing of Hitler to just be like a cold open.
Okay.
Or anything like
that
gets a full fast forwarded Dirty Dozen kind of thing.
45 minutes for Hitler, 45 minutes for the Sasquatch.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Or if not, what I would do is I would like, now that, like, saying it that way, maybe not. Maybe instead what I would do is I'd try to tie them together. Like, Bigfoot doesn't have to be in America. We can put Bigfoot in Germany.
Yeah.
Or like do something like the Nazis have managed to capture a Bigfoot or Bigfoots or something like, and tried weaponizing them, and do something like that there. Like, we killed Hitler, but the Bigfoot's gotten away with their secrets. Like something like that.
I like the notion that the war is over,
like,
but
even
he has to
the
get
title
back
acknowledges
home.
We're doing 2 movies
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
and then
well, no, I think he should come back to
we
America.
couldn't decide if we wanted to make The Man Who Killed Hitler or The Man Who Killed Bigfoot.
So we made both.
And we made it the same guy.
Finishing off Germany, right? And then I've done it. Sorry, your mission's not over. We need you back home.
Mm-hmm.
But also tying it into, like, who the mystery of, like, where did this weaponized Bigfoot come from, and tying it back to the Nazis, so that it ultimately does all tie together. And even goes as far as, like, you had said, like, they have a bunch of Bigfoot. Like, if he's hunting the one that's, like, heading to DC, and just when he's, like, overcome and defeated this thing, the final act of the movie is, like, 7 more show up, and he's like, oh, damn it. And then he's got to fight a horde of Bigfoot.
Yeah, something like that. And
go down in a blaze of glory, but survive to be like, we have a vampire problem.
Yeah.
That is a movie worthy of a title The Man Who Killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I had mentioned Battlefield Earth, which is obviously the same.
And I'd want it to be so freaking. I would want it to be crazy and zany because
we're back to Bigfoot.
I like surreal things. Yeah, I got one more note.
Okay.
Because I'd end it I'd end it with a crazy, not cliffhanger, but like and not quite a teaser. Like, I wouldn't necessarily do a stinger, but like, after he does that, he's celebrated as this great American hero, and he's like, I'd almost turn it into a weird Snake Plissken kind of thing, because it would end with something like 20 years later, or no, like 40 years later, your country needs you again. the man who killed Hitler, and then the Bigfoot, and then splashed up on screen would be the man who killed.
Get it? Come on. What's it going to be? The Martians?
No.
Loch Ness?
Oh my God! I cannot believe I'm.
The
failing
Jersey
to remember
Devil.
His name.
The Chupacabra.
No, I have the monster.
I'm just filling time here.
I'm terrible with. Oh my God!
Frankenstein's monster.
No, Iraq.
What?
Iraq, the country of Iraq.
Okay. Like the Golem?
Oh my God!
Is that it? It's not the Golem.
I'm going to sit here in silence until I remember the person's name. Saddam Hussein.
Okay, there we go.
The man, and it would splash up on screen. The man who killed Saddam Hussein, and then the Chupacabra.
It could be like a 22 Jump Street ending where it just shows
Kind of,
all
yeah.
the sequels.
Yeah, something
The
like
man
that.
who killed Hitler, and then the Bigfoot, and then Saddam Hussein, and then the Chupacabra, and it's just
It keeps
Osama
going.
bin Laden, and then the Jersey Devil. And
Yeah.
then, so it's like a historical bad guy, and then a fictional bad guy.
Yes.
Hey, look, maybe the Bigfoot doesn't deserve to die. He's a peaceful
He
creature.
normally is, and I think that's why in the movie they gave him rabies.
That's right, because we don't want to. It's a mercy kill.
Well, that was another part of it. Is like there was in the original telling, like it really is a well done movie. It's just not what you expect going into that title. Like there was this whole sort of thing where like they our main character like kind of related to the notion of Bigfoot,
Mm-hmm.
and because he's this legendary thing that people don't
Believe in, or
Yeah.
like it's I get it. That I can relate.
like. Yeah,
I'm a
there's
myth
a whole bunch.
too.
So when he finally does, because he's the only tracker who can hunt down Bigfoot,
Mhm.
when he finally finds him, it's almost this sad confrontation.
Oh, that's a bummer.
because Bigfoot's like sick on this rock.
Oh God.
And they do an action scene, like, so they do fight,
Uh-huh.
but it's sort of couched by this like
He's already dead. Stop.
yeah, kind of.
I think that title asks for a much more insane movie, and I
Yeah.
think that's what you get. So like Battlefield Earth, going to that final. So that's a Scientology movie. It's Travolta. It's notoriously one of the worst movies, at least of its era. Plenty of other bad movies.
It was very bad.
Yeah.
I found that it is good when you listen to it with the riff tracks.
With the riff tracks, 100% was going to
and
recommend
it's
it
not that
to.
every movie is like, oh, with the riff tracks, it's definitely good, though they are usually quite good.
Mhm.
But the one they did for Battlefield Earth was hilarious.
So good. Yes, I completely agree. But a title like Battlefield Earth is similar to, there was a movie that came out.
Battle L.A.
Yes, Battle Los Angeles, which was that had to be, 2012?
Yeah,
I think it's 2011.
Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart. And that's based on like an actual historical, at least it's, do you know the actual Battle at Los
Well,
Angeles?
because they pull from it, right?
Yes,
'Cause
yeah.
1943, Spielberg's movie was also based on that.
1942?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Battle Los Angeles.
but in a different way.
The incident was this inexplicable, like all these lights and crazy loud sounds that were happening over Los Angeles in like 1983. Like it was.
Oh, no,
No, not 83. I'm sorry. 42.
Yeah, it was
42.
it was
Yeah,
during World War
during
II.
World War II. But it was like it was it was the Japanese were attacking, which is what the Spielberg one kind of alludes. That movie's not great, but it's whatever. The follow up to Jaws.
Yeah.
Close Encounters. But it's this bombardment, and they don't know what it is. But anyway, that's sort of the basis for the movie Battle Los Angeles, which is like they came back
I didn't know
to
that
finish the job.
because I didn't see Battle Los Angeles.
Yeah,
I wanted to. I had high hopes. Like I was like at the time I was like I want to see contemporary soldiers fight aliens. Like
Right.
I wanted that.
And that was the promise. And the movie isn't.
And Hollywood heard me
Yeah.
and gave me Battle Los Angeles and Battleship. And that was
So this is
they
your fault.
misheard me. Is what happened. It is my fault.
But a title like
I did not specify.
Battlefield Earth or Battle Los Angeles, making it a sci-fi movie. Battle Los Angeles isn't unwatchable. It's not Aliens enough, right? I think
Sure.
when you think of soldiers battling aliens,
Yeah.
Aliens is kind of the best of the best, right?
Sort
like
of.
the James
yeah.
Cameron Aliens, and Battle Los Angeles is closer to that. Like it's trying to be almost like Black Hawk Down, Hurt Locker meets the aliens,
Yeah.
or meets Aliens. Battlefield Earth,
There's a couple of video games that I think hit it spot on.
like Gears of War.
I haven't played much Gears of War. It might, but the Resistance. The Resistance series, I think, does a really good job. Now, granted, that's supposed to be during like World War II kind of thing. It's World War II or the 40s and 50s kind of time. Excuse me. And then XCOM, I think both.
But
do that.
when you hear Battlefield Earth, that's the title of a movie.
Sure.
What does that elicit? And to me, we're kind of discussing end of the world scenarios before we started recording. We're like, when we talk end of the world scenarios, we're talking the end. Don't look up. This is the end. The world is going to be destroyed. Battlefield Earth, like the last line before it's over. This is the final battlefield.
Yeah.
Before the end of everything. Yeah, I think Battlefield Earth just makes me. That's what it elicits to me. Is this like Edge of Tomorrow kind of has that sort of vibe that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So there you go. Battlefield Earth could be the fourth title for Edge of Tomorrow. All you need is kill, Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat, and Battlefield Earth. There you go. It's all the same movie.
I could steal a plot from a game I know of. So there was a game called System Failure. It's it was originally sort of it was conceived sort of as a joke, but the idea was the Y2K bug is real. Literally, it's bugs, and they come to our dimension through electrical lines, and they start attacking, and which means that they attack everywhere. Like all at once. Because when I hear Battlefield Earth, it needs to be like a world war.
Worldwide. Independence Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. I stole that story. They will be very upset. That's if you want to look that up, that is a Palladium role playing game, tabletop role playing game.
I don't know if Battlefield Earth or Battle Los Angeles. That's not a good enough title for me to want something more of it, I think.
Sure.
But do you have a title? Can you think of a title of a movie that's like what
of a movie that let me down?
Yeah, let's put some context here. I do a lot of script rewrites, and I will talk to Jim about the scripts I'm working on, and I will tell him the name of the script and then the notes I've been given by the person who hired me, and Jim will very often go, "What a waste of a title!" Because
I do that. Yeah,
you do that time and time again. So that's this demand speaks to me in that regard. Where, I'll get a good title. And then I'll tell Jim that, and like, no, that's not what the movie should be. It should be this. And then you will pitch a movie based on the title.
Yeah.
So please don't name a title that I've given you. I mean, from an actual movie that exists out for the regular people to watch. Is there a title that comes to your mind?
There is. This is going to be another kind of contentious one because it has a cult following of people who love it.
Okay.
I was severely let down by Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter.
Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, not Abraham Lincoln. No. Okay.
Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter came first.
Okay.
The box art and the trailer at least started exactly how I wanted, right? Jesus with the crown of thorns and the robes and the sandals, pulling the stakes out of his wrists to stab vampires.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah.
That's what I wanted. That's
sacrilegious.
That is what the promise was that got me to sit down and watch this movie, and that is not where they go. They have a cold open where they kind of do that, but it takes place in the modern day, and Jesus comes back, and they do this whole they do this whole thing. They don't say it in the movie, but it's essentially, what if Jesus was a modern day person, right? So Jesus comes back to save the world from vampires. And he shows up with the beard and the hair and the robe and stuff. And he's like, this isn't modern, contemporary. So he goes and he shaves his head and beard, gets a bunch of tattoos and piercings, and wears a cool fishnet tank top, and becomes a modern day vampire slayer.
So he's just Jesus in name only.
And he has some holy powers.
Mm-hmm.
And I get how that happened. Some dudes were sitting around like coming up with ideas like, what if Jesus was like, if you think about it, if Jesus showed up now, he would Jesus is totally a counterculture guy.
Yeah, he'd
like
be
back
a punk.
then he was a counterculture. Now he'd be counterculture.
He'd be a punk.
Yeah. So I get where that idea came from,
Mm-hmm.
but that is not what I wanted to see on screen.
I hear Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. The stakes being his weapons. That's great.
Yeah.
He's got a cross. There's the iconography of what works against vampires. It's all right there. Holy water, having him have a blessing vials and throwing them like holy hand grenades. There's some fun stuff there. I would rather it be so based on the title.
Yeah.
I would say it'd be interesting to watch him chasing. Let's just be ridiculous. He's chasing Dracula through history, and so we see Jesus fighting Dracula throughout the course of human history. It is an ever-ending battle that we see him in the Renaissance, we see him in the Dark Ages, we see him in the New World, we see him in the Wild West, we see him in the space race. Just Jesus Christ, singular vampire hunter. He's been hunting Dracula.
Hunter.
Yeah, because it's not vampires hunter. He hunts a vampire. Obviously, he'd be killing other vampires.
If we then go and if we become pedantic about the pluralization,
I'm using that title to sort of inform what he's doing. He's just
sure, that could be fun.
I would just having Jesus throughout history chasing down vampires. This can be one movie. We do not need to spread this out into a franchise or anything.
No.
I hear Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, and that'd be my pitch right there.
That's not bad.
Yeah. What would you do with that title?
In the near future, church attendance has plummeted.
Ooh.
Even more so than it is now. There's it is now a crisis on top of a crisis, and we see a church, and there's the one or two or three old ladies that show up every day, and
the
that's
diehards.
it, and they're like, whoa, what are we gonna do? No one's coming to church anymore. It's because they've all been killed or turned. And it's because the vampires have been taking over. And the thing is, society at large, I'm not saying, what was that Ethan Hawke movie? It's not Daybreakers.
Okay.
It's not where everyone's a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
It's vampires are still secret. The thing is, the secular world doesn't believe in vampires. And
that'd be foolish. And that'd be like believing a man with a beard in the sky watches over us all.
And so we meet this small congregation, right? Like a couple blue hairs, two or three nuns, a priest and his understudy, right? And and like 4 altar boys.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get a choir, but you
get an ensemble.
You get this little ensemble, and it's And we find out pretty early. The first act is finding out what they're up against, which is this vampire force is ready to pounce and destroy them. And we get to see an attack and the terrible losses to the church.
Mm-hmm.
Like, only God can save us now. Oh, and like you do a bad fade of looking at their crucifix, and then Jesus is up on the crucifix and he gets down and he's like, I'm here to help. Or maybe it happens during the attack or something, and that's where Jesus just joins the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of turns the tide, and then we get an act 2, and that's pretty much act 1. Act 2 would be how do we raise the stakes and turn it on them?
Stakes.
I don't know.
Jesus gets hurt.
Oh yeah. I think it'd be something like I don't know. I don't really have I don't know what our arc is.
Are you?
That's
yeah.
sort of the place I would go, is that our heroes,
Mhm.
right, the clergy, are up against the ropes and about to be destroyed
When
by these
Jesus shows
vampires,
up,
and Jesus shows up.
I'm here to chew
To
bubble gum and kill vampires, and I don't
Yes.
see no gum around here.
Yeah. um
Oh wait, never mind. I'll just turn this host into gum. Okay, I
yeah,
have
there
both
you
now.
go. Holy gum. um
Would you?
and like maybe he saves the day there, and like, oh, but Jesus, this isn't the only parish being
There
attacked.
you go. That answers
Something
my
like that. And
question.
so now maybe they have to go to like other places to save them, and maybe the twists are like they get to one like, oh, it's already been taken over by vampires, and they have to fight the dark priests or the dark priesthood or something.
I'm here to save all your souls.
Yeah. But we get Jesus in full Jesus mode.
Yeah, and in the robe the whole time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
By the end of it, I'm imagining the robe comes off and he's just in the loincloth, just
Yeah.
all sweaty and cut up,
Absolutely.
and just
Or probably because the leader of the vampires shows up, because the
Mhm.
leader is Dracula. Because why not?
Because why not?
If not Dracula,
We
like,
both agree Dracula should be in our movie.
if not Dracula, the devil. Maybe Dracula's
The
second
devil.
to the yeah. Because it turns out the devil has been like supercharging these vampires or something.
You're Jesus. What are you doing here? Why are you doing this to my brood? Get back up on your cross. This is my
Is
devil
this your
voice.
Dracula? Oh, this is your
The
devil.
yeah.
Okay. Dracula's just bleh,
Blah,
bleh,
blah.
bleh.
Just after he defeats Dracula is when the devil shows up. Like,
Yeah.
naughty Jesus, what are you doing down here? Why you killed all my lovely little vampires? Now I'm going to fight you. Get
Yeah.
over here. Blah. And then it's the devil versus Jesus in a final brawl.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
For the blood and souls of mankind.
Now, there's no reason that my tromping through history Jesus can't mesh well with your story either, and we could have all of this.
Sure.
Just use the opening from X-Men Origins Wolverine, but it's Jesus hunting vampires, and then we cut to the clergy and the vampires that attack them, and then Jesus comes down and fights them to Dracula, defeats Dracula. You think it's over, and then the devil shows up and is like, "Oh, naughty Jesus." This is gonna stop right here. I'm gonna kill you.
And I'd want to do all kinds of fun things I'd want to do a reference to like Terminator's "I'll Be Back," but like somehow reference the second coming with that. Like Jesus says that to the receptionist at the vampire hotel, or the mausoleum. That's yeah.
I'll be back in a second.
Prepare for my second coming.
I'm gonna step out, but prepare for my second.
Yeah, something
Prepare
like
for
that.
my return.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just make a bunch of references like that, and it's not that what they did do didn't have fun stuff. They incorporated. I mean, granted, I wasn't happy with it. I was very disappointed.
Yeah.
For invoking and having El Santo, the greatest luchador whatever luched. I did not think that they utilized him well. So I was very disappointed with the original.
And so Jesus Christ, vampire hunter,
Mm-hmm.
and there we go. So I have a title that has bugged me since I found it existed, because I thought of it. I was like, oh, wouldn't that be a fun? And then I looked it up and it existed. So I was like, well, let's see what they did with it. And I looked it up and I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, should I tell you the title or should I read the synopsis first and then tell you the title?
Ooh.
I think
Read the synopsis.
I think okay.
If you're gonna set it up that way, might as well.
Okay. Here's the synopsis
Of what it was.
what it was.
Okay.
Julian Marsh is an out-of-work ladies' man who lands a job directing a bizarre adaptation of Hamlet. After casting his best friend and ex-girlfriend in the show, Julian finds himself in the middle of a 2,000-year-old conspiracy that explains the connection between Shakespeare, the Holy Grail, and some seriously sexy vampires. It turns out that the play was actually written by a master vampire named Theo Horus, and it's up to Julian to recover the Grail in order to reverse the vampire's curse. if only being undead wasn't so much goddamn fun.
Wait, Julian's also undead?
No, I don't. That's just the synopsis here. Julian is not undead. He's an out-of-work ladies' man who lands a directing job for this.
How much does Ladies Man pay?
Apparently not well enough. He had to pick up this extra job here. So that's the synopsis.
Hang on,
Okay.
I'm trying to decide what I think the title.
What do you think
should
the
be.
title? What do you? No, don't you think? I don't want you to think what the title should be for that movie.
Oh, okay.
I want you to think if you can decipher what the title is for this movie and why it frustrated me.
No, I because honestly, that synopsis
Yeah.
is kind of interesting.
Yeah, but not for a movie titled "Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Undead."
Oh no,
Right.
no.
So Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Undead was a title. I was like, oh, that'd be fun. And I looked it up, and this is what exists. And I'm like, someone did it. Read the synopsis. I'm like, what does that have? No, absolutely not. So now I give you the title, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Undead. And now what do you do with
Well,
it?
the first title that comes to mind for that movie
Yeah.
is not Rosencrantz. That title is too good for what that is. This should be Much Ado About Vampires.
Yes, that's better. I don't even want vampires involved in this,
No,
particularly because we just did a whole vampire movie.
Sure.
Jesus killed them all.
Yeah. The first place I go, knowing the fate of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern,
Right.
I would pick up there. They die in a shipwreck,
Yeah.
and they drag themselves undead
Mhm.
out of the sea.
Yep.
And are like, what are we going to do now?
Yes.
And I think the place I would go, because I don't really know what to do,
Mhm.
I would do a weird, almost road comedy.
I'm telepathically sending you a message.
This is probably not where you're going to
Go ahead. You
The-
already
where-
are on the
where
right track.
They kind of go through a
Yes.
a what were they called?
I threw you off my
you know
mind power.
the old mixed up fairy tale cartoons.
Yeah, like
but
a
like-
fractured fairy tale.
Fractured.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to. Like a fractured fairy tale version of Shakespeare plays with the two undead, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, stumbling through them, either fixing them or messing them up.
Yes, that's exactly where I would go with
Oh,
this.
no,
Is
excellent.
I didn't think to get them dragging themselves out of the sea as two zombie men who are hungry for flesh. But as far as kicking that off, yeah, hit the road and have them start interacting with Shakespeare stories and messing them up.
Yeah.
Like messing them up where like Romeo and Juliet are dead and they cover it up to make it look like, oh, quick, we made a mistake. Why'd you eat her? We'll make it look like she stabbed herself. Okay.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like they can't help their flesh lust.
Yeah.
So they are like any death in a Shakespeare play is somehow their responsibility. And yeah, having
that'd be fun.
a road trip movie, fractured version of all the Shakespeares of these two morons responsible for.
Well, and then even have the fallout of all the characters who die in Shakespeare were caused by them.
Mhm.
And then we get to see not a full story, but we get to see then those people rise and then turn
What is
on-
happening?
like Romeo and Juliet
Yeah.
at like the what a folly for House Capulet and yeah, and then suddenly they
Ah! And just this plague of zombies starts spreading across the Shakespeare
Shakespearean
era.
Europe. Yeah.
And it's basically in their wake. Maybe they don't even realize what they've been doing. Like they just inadvertently causing everything, which is essentially how this play is supposed to go anyway.
Sure.
So they inadvertently are like, it's sort of like
Oh yeah,
Pride-
like anyone they're biting, they're not realizing at all that
Mhm.
they're spreading a contagion.
Right. It's sort of like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies kind of notion where you're taking the existing literature
Yeah.
and adding zombies to it.
A little bit.
So yeah, if people want to be like compared to that would be, but a fun version of that, not
Yeah.
the mediocre film that came out.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of film criticism in this episode. I apologize.
It's a part of the demand.
Yeah.
What movies were bad?
Sucked, but the titles were good. Yeah, but that is a good. How does a movie like this end? Like, where does this go? Is there an additional plot of a character hunting these guys down? Like they are patient 0 and 1 for a zombie outbreak, an undead outbreak happening in Shakespearean Europe.
Well, the first thing I think of is you end it with the same way Shakespeare stuff ends, The Tempest.
Okay, yeah,
And you have what's his name? The wizard.
Yeah, Portus.
Portmanteau? No.
The wizard from The Tempest.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have him essentially put
There
everything.
are people screaming right now
Yeah.
that we don't know it off the top of it. Prospero. It's Prospero.
Yeah.
I knew we were ready to start with a P.
I would do something like they make it the two of them having zombie plagued all of Europe set off on another boat. So like,
Yeah.
we got to get out of here.
Oops.
And they end up on Prospero's Island, where they like arrive like in the middle of the events of the Tempest, somehow killing too many of the people there, and Prospero kind of sees what's happening and is like, what is going on? Even maybe make that Prospero's change of heart, because the thing is, he has this weird character, in my opinion. He has this weird turn in the middle of that play.
Tempest,
Like it's unmotivated.
It's motivated by his love for his daughter.
Kinda.
Stupid love.
But like do something like that, like introduce these two guys, and he's like, what are you doing? I left the world for a reason. Okay, I'm gonna fix this. And I know it's rather Deus Ex Machina, but basically have something like that happen.
If you're gonna do it anywhere, why not a Shakespeare play?
Yeah, he goes and he
Greek play, but...
waves his hands. A storm causes a rain across all of Europe, and that rain, for every person it touches, heals them, and it maybe brings them back to life, because that's a happy ending.
Yeah.
Or they all just drop dead and everyone's confused.
No, I'd say bring it up, reverse it all.
Sure.
But before what I'd add before that, because I love the idea of it ending on the island and Prospero like fixing everything, essentially as like the final chapter of the story or the final act of the story. I would like to see Rosencrantz and Ghost-Turn, the undead version of them, catch back up to Hamlet and mortarize all of those guys, because like let's kill all the Hamlet characters because
they're all by the well, I guess according to the timeline, in my mind they were already dead. Fortinbras already took Denmark.
Okay. I was just like for them to kind of get justice for their deaths by taking out all the assholes who survived beyond them. But yeah, they could already be dead. Maybe that's the first place they go.
What if that's a whole subplot, is that their undead shenanigans spreading across Europe caused Fortinbras' army to slow, so they never got there. Well, no, but then Hamlet and family all did kill each other.
Yeah. I'm saying that they get to do it.
Yeah. That could be.
We've gotten real good at making this look like they did it. Let's get them. I just imagine them decaying over the course of this movie. Like, there's like, oh no, my jaw's dislocated. I need more flesh.
Like in Dead Heat.
Dude. Now, you laugh, but literally that was in my head. That's like Joe Piscopo in Dead Heat, slowly like deteriorating. Oh my God. Why do I know that movie? Come on. Why do you know that?
Because
why do we know that movie? It's and then Prospero fixing it all in the end. But except
for like they somehow slink away, they get away. Like a part of it's like Prospero says, "Now you two stand there because I'm gonna undo this, and you're gonna get undone with them. I don't know how you happened."
Okay,
and they're all like, "No, thank you," and they like slink away.
You want to keep them undead?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do these things. Sometimes it's because I love franchises and sequels and stuff, but like. There's a reason audiences didn't like Sherlock Holmes dying at the waterfall. Like no matter how clever that is, that Sherlock Holmes has to die with Moriarty to complete the hero's journey. Right? Audiences don't necessarily like seeing their heroes die.
So I'm not suggesting that Rosencrantz and Gillerstern die, but having them get healed and then getting away.
Oh, having them be brought back to life?
Yeah. Like that in the end, they also are affected by Prospero's reign. And then when he's like, you two are in a whole hell of a lot of trouble. And they're like, let's get out of here before he gets back. By the way, your daughter's cute.
Then what I would do is Caliban got infected.
Okay. Leaving one person left dead or like undead.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. I just like the notion of them getting on a ship and sailing and actually getting a happily ever after. Like
actually, if Caliban did get turned and no one knew it, And Prospero's like, there, you're back to life. Now get off my island. And they're sailing away, and we kind of see like in the background kind of thing, or our characters are unaware that literally everyone on the island is now like we see them all getting killed.
Caliban's out
Yes.
there. But I just like the notion that these two guys get a happy ending. They're like happily ever after and sail off to let's visit the New World or something, and then cause shenanigans there if we must.
Sure.
Because these poor guys didn't deserve to die. Tegan Bink, come on now. So there's a title that I've always. This demand is perfect. I knew as soon as I read it, I was like, I know exactly the movie that I am disappointed in because the title was something I thought I had thought of.
Sure.
I thought of it. Yeah, I make sense. Yeah, but
you thought you were the first person to put on the dead in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
But because someone had already done it, I had to abandon my want of using that title, and I came up with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Evil Dead.
Dead by dawn. Dead by dawn.
All right, let's take a break here. I'm sure we can think of a couple. Let's take a beat here. Throw some messages to 65 Media, and when we come back,
Spaceballs. Disappointed there weren't enough balls.
I did not see nearly enough balls in Spaceballs. Well, you know what?
I suppose that actually was all of their helmets.
Yeah, that's right. They all look like balls. Anyways, okay, we're gonna take a break here. We'll be right back with some more good title, bad movie. Here we go. Okay, and we're back. Here we go. Hello, Jim.
Hello.
Okay, so good titles, whether the movie's bad or not. I think that we're focusing on that. There's a title I remember coming out. This is just a couple years ago that I was like, that's a pretty good title, and then I found out it was a Ted Bundy movie. I'm like, oh, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile was the name of a movie.
Okay,
and that's a pretty cool title. Like. I like long titles, right?
Yeah,
that's Zac Efron played Ted Bundy, and it was just a Ted Bundy movie. And actually got some heat because it made a whole bunch of people on TikTok go like, I think Ted Bundy's kind of cute. And it's like, stop, you're insane.
That's exactly how he operated.
Yeah, good job. Go Google Jeffrey Dahmer. Also not a good-looking man, but people are weird.
Yeah.
But the title, Extremely Wicked.
I mean, when what's his name? Is when Evan
Peters plays him.
Is cast as him.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But that title, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. What does that elicit in you? Like if I said that, don't take Ted Bundy out of the equation.
The movie Terrifier.
Oh God. Well, here's the thing. I don't like you know me. I don't like that sort of early 2000s Eli Roth torture porn kind of movies.
Sure.
Like just like violent for the sake of violence.
Yeah.
Like even beyond those early Saw movies, which at least had plot driving the violence, where it's just like, let's just mess people up because it's cool and bloody.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to make a movie like that. I hear Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, and like for my proclivity is to go towards like sort of not make fun of that, but send that up, like having like a dark comedy.
That makes sense.
Well, you know me. That's where I would go with it.
Yeah.
Having like characters competing to be the villain, like some sort of like I have already evoked Inglourious Bastards, but like that level of Tarantino type of violence where or John Wick type violence where it's kind of a relief to laugh at it as opposed to like look away from it. You get what I mean? Like
sort of
the violence in Tarantino movies, like something like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. When that movie gets violent, it's like a release of tension. At least when I saw it, I was like couldn't help but like laugh at the like, oh my God, like that's where I would go with a title like this. I'd be like, I don't have much more than sort of what I'm spitballing.
Sure.
Right here. But having characters competing to be supervillains, that could be a parody movie for someone trying to.
See. The thing is, the way I would go, I think, would just kind of lean into almost that type of genre, and I don't think you would like it.
Well, go ahead, pitch it.
But so thinking on what you just pitched, I would do something similar, like basically like take a little bit from Rob Zombie and do like a gang of just terrible murderers rolls into town, and they decide to make this town their playground, and so we get we get an opening act of we see a little bit of them being terrible as they're getting closer and coming into our town and maybe meeting our town. We get to meet our town. We get to meet people we don't want to see die.
Yeah.
The second act is we see a lot of these people, a lot to majority of these people die.
I've got something.
They die bad.
Yeah.
They like gross, like real bad.
Yep.
And then but then we have our final girl, or just the final character, or maybe even 2 or 3 characters.
Yeah.
Who go full Last House on the Left and decide to basically reverse it on these killers.
Okay.
And I'd want there to be enough killers so that in the third act, when our characters take the methods that have been used on them and use them back on the killers, like it's just as vile.
Okay.
And that's where I first go.
Well, let's pull back in terms of like, let's just not. I don't want to sit here and discuss like how unsettlingly violent this would be, but let's talk plot. Okay.
Okay.
You touched on something I think I like. I like kind of what you laid down here. I'm going to kind of pick it up a little bit. Having a group of marauding, violent, very Rob Zombie is the perfect sort of awful that you're kind of touching on.
The Devil's Rejects style.
So disgusting. There's something so vile about those movies, and the fact that people, whatever. I'm not going to criticize these movies to their fans, but like having a group of, like Mandy, that gang of violence, the original Roadhouse, those motorcycle guys just coming in and starting shit, right? And they can't be stopped for whatever reason, and they come upon a small lakeside community and they choose to be their playground. They just picked the wrong community, because this community is a very peaceful community, and it's because they have an understanding with the guy who lives up on the hill, who is a serial killer. They have an understanding.
Sorry, with that initial pitch, I immediately went to the Married with Children 2-part episode where they go back to the town where Al Bundy's from, which is famous for 2 things: the man who met John Elway, I think, and a serial killer.
Yeah.
And it turns out they're the same guy, so they won't arrest him.
Yes, this is the plot that I'm pitching for this movie. That there's one guy in town that everyone agrees to stay away from. He agrees not to harm the community. He travels for his serial killing, and he's a horrible monster. But now this group of marauders have come in, and they've entered the wrong town. This town is this community has an even more wicked, evil, vile human being who's going to basically pick them off one by one. So sort of a psycho switch. We think, here are our villains, and they're going to harm all these people and whatnot. And then there's the switcheroo where now they're being hunted and picked off one by one. Kind of a little bit like the mockumentary we watched,
Leslie Vernon.
Leslie Vernon. Kind of like that, where it's like there's a switcheroo of who the victims are and who the hero is. The hard sell on this is making. I actually have discussed with you. I've been trying to work out this screenplay idea for a while now. That the difficulty is how do you make a knife-wielding, machete-wielding maniac the hero that the audience is rooting for, and that's kind of what this movie titled.
Okay, I do want to ask, what's the difference between our pitch? Is it just that you're wanting our Revenger to be a serial killer?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Instead of a community kind of like fighting back and winning, there's a freaking Hannibal Lecter, Dexter Morgan in town that they like oopsied their way into.
That premise, I feel I guess it's not that it only works. Are you imagining that he starts doing that before the town gets brutalized?
No. He's
Oh, okay.
yeah. We can still victim. Maybe it's more like if Jigsaw lived in a lakeside community and they all had
Sure.
an agreement with him. Like, Trap Man's angry.
Do you want to go supernatural with it? Maybe it's not maybe it's not a Jigsaw or a serial killer. Maybe it's like an R-rated Addams Family.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Or yeah. Okay, Rob Zombie. Let us show you how to do the monsters.
No, to be fair, Rob Zombie made what Rob Zombie really wanted to do is he wanted to recap. My understanding,
Yeah.
he wanted to recapture what he loved growing up about the monsters. He didn't want to redefine it as a murder schlock.
Sure.
But,
I meant that very offhandedly.
okay.
I didn't mean to target the poor man. He's not poor. He's very wealthy. He's fine. Yeah. So there's your extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. If that was the title, I think it would fit this movie.
Extremely wicked, shockingly evil,
and vile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I'm what I'm looking for. I'm replaying everything we just pitched
Mhm.
in my head. I think it suits. It doesn't do anything that for me goes, oh my god, yes, right?
Yeah. I honestly, it's not a movie that I would super want to make because that's
Sure.
just not the type of movie that I would want to watch.
Weirdly, I will. I do. I have a couple movies like concepts
Yeah.
that fall into that kind of subgenre, the splatterpunk
Yeah, that
kind of.
if it
genre.
was like Mandy, I'd be on board. Like
Sure.
there's an aesthetic in Mandy that's just so captivating,
Hmm.
and that violence in there has this pastiche to it that I'm like all about it. So yeah, I don't know. It sort of became, even though I'm the one who pitched it, went into a territory. I was like, I don't even want to write that. Like I wouldn't want to watch it. It just becomes sort of the sort of thing I don't like anyway.
Well, because like even trying to go maybe more on what you were thinking with that, like the almost like lampooning that title, have it would be characters trying, like not a Brewster's Millions scenario, but like some sort of premise where you get these evil characters, or dumb characters that are trying to be evil. They're like, which of us can be, or I'm gonna outdo you at being shockingly
evil and vile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of like a dark comedy of errors.
Well, weirdly, I am going back to this, and if we think of it in more of comedy of error, yeah,
because I feel like that is sort of where you were initially wanting it to go. Is that dark comedy?
Yeah.
Or even just dark comedy of errors.
What about like Con Air? It's an airplane full of the worst people, and then that movie unfolds the way it does. But or like Ghost of Mars. It's supposed to be a prison planet, right? Having all of these awful criminals in one place and then forcing them to have to survive. So a ghost ship of criminals. It's just tough. The difficulty is, how do you root for who's the hero? Like Raines is a good guy who is in prison for he did the wrong thing, right? Like he's still a hero. Memphis Raines is still a hero in Con Air, so we can root for him, while all the other cons, like Malkovich, are the bad guys.
What about the premise of you have a super evil, faceless, rich guy sets up a competition, goes out across the dark net to all the terrible people in the world who are in communication with each other, to all the serial killers, mass murderers, and sickos.
Yeah.
A town has been purchased.
It's very Purge-like. I'm going where you're heading. You're going.
And he invites all of them to come to this town, and whoever emerges as the title character, as the shockingly evil, gratuitously
Extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. Yeah, whoever.
Most will win bunches of money and have their record expunged, or if they don't have a record, like your crimes will be. You get 100 bullets cover up.
Yeah.
There you go. For
the tagline on the
reference.
poster is only the worst survive.
Sure, something like that. And they get there, and it's an abandoned town.
Mm-hmm.
And so the goal is, there's 30 of you. 30 of you monsters showed up.
So it's sort of
Literal monsters and just some serial killer
So
monsters.
Battle Royale-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of monsters.
The worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Of like every slasher killer and
That's
serial killer.
That's stronger and
and make it look good because we'll be watching.
Yeah. That's almost Black Mirror-esque, or what was that movie that like sort of failed, where the people are running through it's all the liberals.
I wanted to see it.
Liberals running through the jungle.
The
running through
Hunt.
The forest.
No, not The Hunt.
Was it?
It's not The Hunt.
No, it was not The Hunt. You sure? That was the 2020 movie? Yeah.
Was it The Hunt?
Yeah, 12
I
strangers
thought The Hunt was
wake up in a clearing. They don't know how they got there.
Oh, yeah.
Shadow the dark internet conspiracy. Ruthless elitists gather at the remote location to hunt humans for sport.
I thought The Hunt was Mario Van Peebles gets hired as a woodland guide, and then Charles S. Dutton and his white friends hunt him for sport.
Is that Mario? Was it Mario? There's an Ice Cube movie that
is
does
it Ice
that.
Cube?
Yeah. Not Ice Cube. Ice-T.
There's Ice-T.
Yeah,
Okay.
Surviving the Game.
There you go.
Yeah, I probably saw that around the same time I saw Dead Heat on TV.
Yeah. So I didn't finish. I didn't really give you like a that was just the setup. I imagine to get a character that we're going to root for, we have an investigator who finds out about this, going through the darknet, sees an invitation, or whether it's a independent journalist type, or whether it's a detective that the force that the chief won't back up. This is a wild goose chase, but he goes and does it himself anyway.
I've been chasing this one suspect.
Well, it would
and
be,
that suspect is going to be there.
Oh, I was actually thinking they managed to actually get someone. They've captured someone, and going through his files, they see an invitation. And like, what is this? This seems
we can bust
big.
29 other guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in as this guy.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. And then he has to survive.
Make it look good.
And make it look good. Ooh. I like that best of all.
All right.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did it.
Actually, yeah, this is the feeling. This is the feeling I wanted out of the pitches, where it's like, ooh, yeah, I want to see that.
Yes,
now that title makes me
yes.
want to see that.
I got something to play in your wheelhouse.
Okay.
I got a title for a movie that is exactly what it wanted to be, and I have no criticism for it. But the title is so good, I wish it was a different movie.
Your Highness? No.
A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh.
I think that's an excellent title for a movie.
It is an amazing title.
And so what should that movie be? Because it's Seth MacFarlane doing Seth MacFarlane's thing, and I think he does a perfectly fine job at it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Seth fan, A Million Ways to Die in the West is right on the money.
Mm-hmm.
But that title could be a completely a different. Oh, I just bumped my mic. Oh God.
Oh no.
falling apart over here. A Million Ways to Die in the West. What is that movie in a different scenario? In a different universe. Because this is those who might be new to the podcast. Jim loves himself some westerns.
I really do.
And we at least managed to find one episode of season where Jim gets to pull out the cowboy. And
I feel like for that, maybe it's because I've seen it that I'm not veering too far from it. But I do still see it as a comedy western. And maybe that's the wrong way to go. Maybe I'll say this and then I'll start veering further.
Okay.
because it doesn't need to be Bone Tomahawk.
What's Bone Tomahawk, Jim?
Bone Tomahawk is sort of the splatterpunk horror that we were just talking about in a Western.
Who's it star?
Kurt Russell has
Snake
to go rescue a woman who has been kidnapped by some savages. And the use of the term savages initially sounds like that's disparaging to the native peoples, and it kind of is, but they talk to some native peoples and they're like, oh yeah, no, those guys are monsters. So they're not even like a normal tribe. They are cannibals. They're terrible cannibal monster. They're not even people. And they're not. They allude to them being almost like Cro-Magnon. They take bones and they like embed them in their skin to create this like weird whistle screech. We get some real brutal scenes where they chop a man in half. Spoiler.
So that's A Million Ways to Die in the West.
It's one real brutal way to die in the West. But I'd want to tell a more like sincere, gritty story of this cowboy getting revenge on a gang that did a terrible, probably to his homestead or town or something.
Yeah.
And so he's chasing him down, a la Unforgiven, right? But kind of like what Seth MacFarlane did, everywhere he goes, death is just constantly happening around him. Everything from the slapstick comical of a giant block of ice falling on someone to random people just shooting each other, and get as many variations of death as possible. That's the first real place I go. Hang on, I'm having a second idea, and this is much more Jim's way of doing things.
Okay, all right. Because that cleaves so close to what actually exists that I'm like, nah, well, come on, we do better than this. Let's come up with a new idea. I have a pitch, but if you have a second one, please.
This one actually is kind of close to the premise of the legend of the Lone Ranger.
Okay.
Someone a terribleness is done unto a homestead or a town, and a man is resurrected, or maybe he was doing terrible things and he's cursed to never die until he avenges his cursor.
Okay,
and he keeps dying.
That's where I would have gone with it. An immortal who can't
I got
die.
it.
That's where I was thinking. So and having this immortal having existed for some time. It's odd that all these movies that we've pitched today, kind of, at least some of them, most well, we've only pitched 6.
I'm gonna change it. Instead of it being undead or immortal, it's Groundhog's Day. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be funny.
Okay.
He keeps dying.
He's stuck in a loop.
And he knows how to get out.
Yeah.
So I guess it's almost more of like video game logic kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
He needs to get. I feel like it would be a revenge story. He needs to get this revenge, and he's trying to do it, and he keeps dying. And no matter how he approaches it, he keeps dying. People he recruits, they keep dying.
Yep.
But he keeps resetting.
I'm going to add to this.
And that way, because even dying a million times, the Wild West wasn't long enough for one immortal to die that many times.
I'm gonna.
But if he's resetting,
I'm gonna make a tweak to this.
Okay.
I love this idea that it's a Groundhog Day and it's a million ways to die in the West, and that he is trying to get his revenge on, like he has to kill a man or kill, like, right? That's your premise.
Initially, it does. I'm willing to change that. It could be maybe he's trying to get to California. He's trying to get to a promised gold mine or something.
I like the notion of him, like he has a target he has to reach, and if it's to get his revenge, if gold can be involved. But here's the way. It's in the West. He has to be in, right? His reset is in New York.
Too far.
Sorry. Then Chicago, but like that, he has to keep traveling west to get, and he keeps dying in the process. That he doesn't just die in the same spot over and over again. Like instead of resetting in the same town, or maybe it doesn't have to be as far as Mississippi, like the Mississippi River. I'm just saying, like, he has to travel a distance over the course of days or weeks. Like his reset is once he dies.
Sure.
So yeah, Groundhog Day would keep him in the same town and whatnot. Which I'm willing to do that, but
You're saying you wanted to go further. You want to see more than one town.
Yeah, like if there's
sure,
a frontier.
When I said Groundhog Day, I didn't mean to. I suppose that did come with. It was loaded with a lot of stuff. I didn't necessarily mean one town.
I'm thinking more like, wow, weirdly, Live, Die, and Repeat, where he has.
There you go. That's a really good example.
Yes, weirdly that we came back to that when that's how we started this episode. Was talking about it. Battlefield Earth.
Yeah.
But that he has a distance to travel and everything's out to get him. Like
so I'm here's what I'll do for you. It's not one distance he has to travel. Like literally, we would need to come up with the premise. I don't have it right now, but something about his goal, whether it is a revenge or whatever it is, he needs to go to a bunch of different places, kind of like Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow. To learn sorry, Edge of Tomorrow.
I refuse to call it that.
Why?
The marketing was too good.
Better title.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, all you need is kill.
Anyway, microphone, come back. What?
No, you're fine. Go, keep going.
He needs to travel to different places. So he needs to go to Tombstone or Dodge City to meet Wyatt Earp to learn a certain thing or something like that. He needs to go to Deadwood before Wild Bill Hickok gets killed to learn something there. Like that could be another element. He needs to do these things before these people with known deaths die.
That's cool.
And so he could have a whole thing. Like he gets there. Oh no, they died 2 days ago.
God
damn it! And he has to
to die to reset.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to add even more to this. He has upon his head the largest bounty in American history. So everybody wants to kill this guy.
Sure.
If he has to go to these people to talk to him in order to
half of them are bounty hunters
and half of them are lawmen, right?
Yep.
And he is at risk literally everywhere he goes. So now like everything, all odds are stacked against him. So adding in this idea that he has to reach people before they die is pretty interesting. How malleable do you want to make time?
Would it be too much? Do you not like it if we incorporate a little bit of like a, I want to say
go ahead.
Title. I can't remember the Scott Bakula show.
Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap element. Not that he's leaping into people, although that'd be a way to go. That'd be a whole show. Million Ways to Die. It's a TV show. So he's from the future and he's come to the past to do a certain thing, but he's gotten stuck because he needs to the premise would be like he needs to fill the database with certain things because when he came back he crashed or whatever and that's what got messed up. So that's why he has to go and meet these people and do these things.
I don't know. That's not. I like
making it too.
Yeah, I like the notion that
too many things to suspend your disbelief for.
I like the notion that there's a science fiction explanation to this. It's time loop, so why wouldn't it be? But him coming from the past and having to hit the, I don't know if that
the future coming from the
future to the past, yeah. That adds a bigger sci-fi element to it that's not like jiving with me.
Okay.
But also the explanation.
I'm trying to put more rather than just say MacGuffin reason. I'm trying to figure out what that reason is, why he's looping, and why he has to go to these different
steampunk technology
things.
Nikola Tesla did this to him. Thomas Edison did this to him. I was going to ask earlier how malleable you want time here because Wild Bill Hickok
it probably
and
has
Wyatt
to be
Earp
pretty malleable.
Yeah, Lincoln. Like there's all these deaths that are notorious of the Wild West and of the era that don't exactly happen near and or around each other.
Sure.
And that would that might make the loop too big.
Sure.
If he has a direct route and it's to go from, even if it's just one, like get to Wild Bill and that's it. like
Mhm.
as part of it, as opposed to hitting some other people along the way. But you bring up a fair point. Why is this happening, and how does he get out? Like, what's the ultimate way he gets out of this?
Don't know.
Ultimately, yeah.
Those I don't know if are necessary. I think we've fulfilled the title, A Million Ways to Die, because he will die a million ways. But
Do you know?
like I said, the first idea was Quantum Leap.
Right.
Um,
But then we don't. Then it's not him. He's just jumping into other people's bodies.
no. I only invoked Quantum Leap for the whole. He's a guy from the future
Oh, I
come
see.
to the past
Yeah.
to learn about the past, to document something about the past,
Mhm.
and something went wrong with the technology, so he's stuck here until he does it, until he does what he's supposed to do. Even dying won't send him back to his time. That's why he keeps looping.
Okay, I misunderstood, and I thought you were implying that he jumped into other people's
No.
body, quantum leap style. But okay, let me readdress this then. The idea that he came back in time and something went wrong with the technology, that he's looping to a specific start point, basically his drop point.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he always resets.
Yep.
Video game logic, right? But that the technology has been taken. That maybe whatever his device was is taken by Thomas Edison and goes west, and he has to fight his way, retrieve. And if anyone could put
That's
the
not
largest,
terrible.
what's it?
That's not terrible.
And if anyone could put the largest bounty on a man's head, why not Thomas Edison? So if like he shows up and Edison has somehow detected it or caught him in the act or gets his machine, kills him and runs, or leaves him to be fought. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
I think
I know what you're saying.
yeah. And then the mission is get my damn machine back. Yeah.
I know I'm quiet, real bad for audio, but I'm rolling that around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm liking that. I'm liking that enough to give a provisional thumbs up.
Ooh, a provisional thumbs up. My
Yeah.
favorite kind of thumbs up.
Yeah.
Because if it's just a matter of chase this guy
Yes.
down, he can catch him at, like, let's say Edison
Okay.
jumps on a train and heads west. He can now, depending on how our hero chases him, can catch up to him sooner or later. If Edison's
Sort of, yeah.
destination is California, that could be where the final battle takes place. Or if his final destination is New York and he's going the other way, whatever the case, it should be the West.
The only thing is what's the reason for? Well, no, because you wanted to not do all the thing. You wanted to just have this one
Well, he could
one path of revenge.
Well, not necessarily. I think there still could be an option of like, I know, I'll talk to Wild Bill for X reasons. Maybe he can help me, or I need to learn how to be a gunslinger, so I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to go talk to Buffalo Bill. Who better to? I can't stand my own. I'm from the future. Everything I thought I knew about the Wild West was wrong. This place is wild. I keep dying and resetting. Live, die, and repeat.
Hey, I like that.
Hey, that's a good title. A Million Ways to Live, Die, and Repeat in the West.
Yeah.
What are you bumping up against in this? Instead of trying to convince you,
Well,
tell
because
me.
if all right, Thomas Edison steals my time travel device, so now every time I die, I just reset.
Mhm.
I need to get it back from him so that when I die, I don't just reset here. I go back to my time.
Yes.
The MacGuffin of like going around, like I think that's what I'm bumming, and that could be a fine story.
Mhm.
We don't have to have a tour of the Wild West, seeing all of the cameos.
Mhm.
So that's not necessary. That could just be first draft stuff.
But there's
I'm
still
willing to
there's still a
to
chance.
pare back.
What's it?
I'm willing to pare back.
But there's still a chance to see cameos from some of these Western figures, particularly ones that
Sure.
will end up dying. Gives our character.
Well, and then it also depends how it. We probably don't need to be historically accurate.
Right.
We could probably go and take some of these people and say they were actually they were in Colorado at this time because we said,
Yeah. Go ahead. You fact check it.
and they will. and no one will care.
Actually, Buffalo Bill Cody and Wild Bill would not have been together.
Right, like Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights played around with stuff like that.
Would that be the tone we're going for? I like the idea of it going towards Edge of Tomorrow level of seriousness. I know that's.
I don't. It doesn't have to be a Jackie Chan type comedy,
right? I would,
but I think it's lighter and fair. I actually don't think it's Edge of Tomorrow type serious.
More like that.
I would say it's more hands in the air. I think it's Back to the Future 3.
Yes, I'm sold. You had me.
I think it's pretty light adventure fare.
Okay.
With a lot of death.
He keeps dying.
Yeah.
You can't help it. Yeah, I'll take that. All right. What do you think? I mean, that's the broad strokes of it.
I had the only other variation would be it's not Thomas Edison. Our main character is either the first victim of or is chasing someone who is hell-bent on changing history.
Oh, a different traveler.
And so that's actually why he has to go all of these different directions, because this guy plans on changing things. Like, I'm going to go make the Cowboys win in the showdown at the OK Corral.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go help Wyatt Earp.
I'm going to go change the result of the Alamo.
Yeah.
Go help Davy Crockett.
Yeah.
Daniel Bowie.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That it's a, why not both?
Actually, maybe it's Thomas Edison.
Yes,
doing
there you
that.
go.
He's
Why
trying
not
to
both?
change history
Exactly.
to make himself more rich. I don't know what that has to do with certain figures of the Wild West, but
whatever this machine is that he comes across and steals has history inside of it for him to be like, let me manipulate time.
A thing I want to do with that then, actually either way, like a scene I want to have is the character who steals his time device and kills him like right away, right there, shows up out of a time rift. So that way, when the character catches up to him, like, you stole that from me, you don't get to have that, and he basically says, no, the future me came through time and gave this to me, so clearly it's meant to happen because it already did.
It already did, yeah.
Blam.
Bah, damn it.
Basically, the idea that the villain, the antagonist, one way or another, justifies, whether he believes or not, justifies using time loop logic that he deserves to have this.
It's very Rick and Morty. Although Rick and Morty tries to avoid time travel, so
yeah,
we're safely out of that realm. And then our hero succeeds. He manages to survive the Wild West, and
well, no, he died a million times.
He died a million times, but eventually, you have no idea how many times I've died. I do. It's in the title. Bang, 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 bang. And a final shootout to end this adventure.
Yeah,
I suppose
and weirdly, it would probably follow several beats from Seth MacFarlane's, like, do something like our main character doesn't know how to shoot, but there would be a montage of many lives where he learns how to shoot. Do so.
Yeah.
Although, like, if it is across enough time, parts of the montage could be like, oh yeah, I've lived a decade or two of lifetime over and over again. I was a lawman. I rode with Jesse James. I also fought Jesse James.
Yeah.
I
kind of looking like Palm Springs sort of.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I'm going to try every variation of this.
Yeah.
As opposed to just repeating the same thing over and over again until I get it right. I'm literally I'm gonna try it all. That's not bad. The end result of this is he has to destroy the time device that he's been trying to retrieve the whole time.
And stay there?
Yeah. The end result of this is to blow that thing up, and he resets back where he died the first time, and now there will not be a loop. He has no way back, and now he gets to choose which of the million lives he wants from that point on. That is the
Okay.
ending I'm proposing.
That's I think that's pretty good.
Because then he can literally ride off into the sunset, leaving the audience to make assumptions.
Sure.
All
Sure.
right.
All right, and that justifies why he keeps reappearing in St. Louis.
Why is that?
St. Louis is the gateway
that's
to the
gateway.
west.
Okay, sure.
And
Yes.
but because basically because he kept spawning there, video game term.
Video game.
Every time, like we established pretty early, we eventually don't need to keep showing it. We show him constantly riding off into that sunset early on because he has to get going. He has to go do a thing. And so it's that final ride at the end. His final ride into the sunset mirrors all of the ones he took. So you don't know which one. This is the last
ride
of many. Yeah. There's a poetry there, and I'm failing to describe it.
It was more of a spoken word bit of poetry you just did there, and to that I give you.
I dig it.
Yeah. Do you want one more before we want to do one more here?
Hit me.
Hit me. Okay. So this is going to delve into some IP territory because this is a good title for a terrible movie.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know anyone who would argue with me on this. A Good Day to Die Hard. The fifth Die Hard movie. We don't have to
Didn't we do that in the very didn't we talk about it in the very first
episode of this series is talking about Die Hard and what we would do with it. But
I know that was for the sixth one.
That was just this is what we would do with it. And yeah, I believe it was for the sixth. But the title A Good Day to Die Hard, first of all, I don't know how do you feel about the Die Hard titles being Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live Free or Die Hard.
And then they turned it into like an actual phrase.
Yeah, and then they turned it into a thing. Like, I know that a lot of people want, if they could do one more. I know Bruce Willis is out of the game now, legend that he is. But a lot of people are saying, like, Old Habits Die Hard should have been the last movie. I don't like...
Sorry, because it becomes wordplay.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be about John McClane. I want Old Habits Die Hard to be about like three nuns that end up in a situation where they have to be the ones to take out the terrorists / robbers.
Old Habits Die Hard, starring Dame Maggie Smith, Dame Judi Dench, and Helen Mirren.
Yes,
these old habits are like dying hard. So Old Habits are they like bank robbers or they're stopping?
No, they're not.
They're the good guys.
They're just there. They're people that they're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Okay, wrong place, wrong time. They stop a bank robbery, but they think it is now their calling from God.
No, you're going too far. You do a Die Hard.
Okay.
But instead of John McClane, it's these three nuns.
Okay, so is someone's robbing the Vatican? Some terrorists take over the Vatican, but they're actually
while
robbing...
these three nuns are there, on like a pilgrimage type thing.
Yeah.
Because they're not from Vatican City and they're not Italian,
right?
So they're there to visit, and while they're there,
they're American. No, they're
sure. They're British or American. They're not Italian. While they're there, the Vatican gets taken over.
Yeah. Terrorists, quote unquote,
seemingly terrorists. But they're just there to raid the church's
the catacombs,
treasure vaults.
Yeah.
Do you know because the Catholic Church has treasure vaults.
Yeah. You know how much money is buried underneath the Vatican?
All of the Holy Roman Empire's treasure.
And they get caught up in a Die Hard?
Yeah.
And
it turns out they're the only ones who can do anything because the Vatican Royal Guard have all been incapacitated. Yeah.
I mean, allegedly, there is 3.9 billion euros, which is adjusted for there's $5 billion allegedly in the vaults of the Vatican.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what these supposed terrorists
They've already.
are.
It's the Swiss Guard. That's what it is. So these terrorists managed to take out the Swiss Guard
Mhm.
and hold off any military forces from coming in because they have the Pope and all the cardinals hostage.
Yeah.
And they're like, get ready for our demands. And while they're doing that, they're actually cutting into the vaults to get the billions of Catholic gold.
They have, and these nuns have been called to the wrong place at the right time.
Yep.
The right place at the wrong time.
Yep.
Okay, and then they just die hard their way through it.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
I know that's it's very shorthand of us to say they do a Die Hard.
They do a Die Hard, but you get it. Everyone hearing it now can see it.
Yeah.
Weirdly, we called back to Live Die Edge of Tomorrow. I'm not calling it that. We also started with Jesus versus vampires, and we came back to nuns fighting terrorists.
Yeah.
Terrorist robbers in the Vatican.
Yeah.
There's a weird theme here today.
Religion and repeating.
So old habits die hard.
Sorry. So
no, that's better.
The first place I go.
That's
with
way better.
that
Like
title.
A Good Day to Die Hard. Whatever. I gave you a title, and you lived up to the promise of that title, Jim. Good job.
A Good Day to Die Hard to me, not having to necessarily be a Die Hard, not necessarily having to be a John McClane movie.
Mm-hmm.
The first place I go is an immortal has lived for a really long time. Something has happened where they have to die.
Okay.
And in very short order. This is almost like a Dabney Coleman. What was that movie? Not Shortchange. It was Dabney Coleman was in a movie where he thought he had like only a day or two or he was about to retire, and he gets diagnosed with a terrible illness, and he needs to die on the job so the insurance pays out.
Short Time.
Yeah,
1990. Short Time.
Yeah, that was a '90s movie.
Yeah,
perfect. Basically, a short time, but with an immortal who is trying to get himself offed, and it's just not working.
So this old man is trying to get himself offed?
What?
That's what you said, not me.
Yeah, but when you repeat it with that inflection.
Okay, but please tell me more about this movie where an old man is trying to get himself.
He's not old. He's immortal.
This mortal man's trying to get off.
So I guess technically he's old because he's been around a while, but he doesn't have to be what we normally consider an old. Anyway, this immortal, this Highlander.
It's Dabney Coleman. I don't know if he's still alive, so you can't really have him.
It doesn't have to. Why are you doing this to me? I'm pitching a perfectly fun movie, and you are teasing me.
Okay, sorry. Continue.
So Connor McLeod turns out he doesn't want to be an immortal anymore.
It's time to die.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a Jesus to kill him.
Nope.
He doesn't have
three nuns.
Three nuns. He doesn't have a time looping cowboy.
Nope.
He has to figure out. He doesn't have a psychopath living in a small town.
Yep.
How is this immortal gonna die? He has to die. It's a good day to die, but it's really hard to do it.
Yes.
I need more.
It was fun when I started pitching it. Now I feel like it's stupid.
I made it weird. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You do something with Good Day to Die Hard.
Well, listen. Dabney Coleman is still alive. So
I'm pretty sure he's retired, though.
What? We can bust him out of retirement here to be in your weird movie where he's trying to get off. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm picking on you.
You ended this episode like 10 minutes ago, didn't you?
No, we're still going here. The people demand this, Jim. The studios demand it.
I don't know. Help me out here. Give me advice.
Okay, a good day to die hard. I don't know. You won me over with Old Habits Die Hard, and I don't even want to go to this title at this point.
Well, then I say let's leave it open. We did a bunch of heavy lifting here. We did what, five titles?
Six
titles. You guys do this last one. What do you guys think a good story would be that would live up to A Good Day to Die Hard?
A Good Day to Die Hard.
The Devil's Backbone.
The Devil's Backbone?
Yes. I think Guillermo del Toro is one of Guillermo del Toro's, I don't know if it was his first, it was an early movie.
Okay.
It's a good movie, but that title is so provocative.
Yeah.
It's about a little boy living in like an orphanage,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a ghost little boy, and there's an unexploded bomb, and the whole thing is like
Whoa.
allegory for
Yeah.
like I think some sort of Spanish or Mexican war.
The Spanish
thing.
Civil War, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm an American, and I needed to see more backbones and more devils.
So what is The Devil's Backbone to you? What's that movie?
It could be a bunch of things. Oh, it could be a trail. You got me in Western mode now.
Okay.
It's a trail, almost a Donner Party-esque situation where people
Ooh.
get stuck going through. I don't care which mountain range, the Rockies or the Californias, during a winter, and the only passage available to them is the Devil's Backbone.
Oh.
And the reason this is so bad and scary is because a lot of superstition. First of all, it's a very treacherous trail,
Mhm.
but it's also said that people disappear on this trail all the time.
So it's like all the time. So like demonic visions, hauntings. Does it slowly just pick away at people's sanity as they work their way through the trail?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, also their physical bodies.
So like a Lovecraftian Western horror.
Sure. Yeah.
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 Okay.
It might end up feeling a lot more like Ravenous, and like might have like Wendigo vibes. But I'd want to go even more than that. Beyond that, probably pull in like imagine like the if you've seen the movie The Ritual, but like in the winter, in the olden times.
In the olden times. Ooh, creepy.
Yeah.
No,
That's
yeah.
the first place I go with that. It could be something else. It could be some people, let's say scientists. Yeah, scientists are fun. They discover a tunnel with a staircase. Like it's just a staircase that goes down,
Mhm.
and the locals call it the Devil's Backbone because they say it's a hellmouth.
It goes to
to
hell.
hell.
Whoa.
And so these characters, not believing in superstition,
Mhm.
they decide they're gonna check it out, and it leads to like platforms and stuff, and like ways off of the staircases and stuff, and
Yeah.
they have encounters, and they also have spooks and stuff like that.
That. I mean, sounds like something Guillermo del Toro would direct.
It does.
Actually, Lee Cronin, who did Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah. Wait.
He
I thought that was Fede.
did Evil
Fede,
Dead Rise too? No.
No, he did the Fede whatever last name is, did the latest Evil Dead. You're talking Evil Dead Rise was the reboot, right?
No. Evil Dead was the reboot. Evil
Oh.
Dead Rise was the one that just came out, where it's like,
Well,
"Mommy loves you to death."
to the
Yeah,
internet.
that's Lee Cronin.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, I just feel like he's got the visual stylings of what a movie like The
Fede
Devil.
Alvarez did the 2013 Evil Dead
Got
reboot.
it. Well, there you go. The Devil's Backbone.
Yeah.
Oof.
Sorry, yeah, I love that title. And again, the movie was good, but it was not what I was expecting.
Okay. I don't know. I don't really have. I'm kind of out of steam right now.
Yeah.
It's because we did this on a Monday instead of a Tuesday. I'm all
yeah?
thrown off biologically.
Well, also we just pitched 8. Well, I pitched.
Yeah.
8.
I was just here agreeing or disagreeing.
Yeah. Well, you didn't participate in Devil's Backbone.
It's a giant. It's a backbone.
Uh-huh.
And whoosh, and it's like a whip.
It whips.
It's a whip.
Oh, it's a whip. Okay.
And-
And maybe a giant gorilla maybe holds that.
Don't mock me. How dare
Why
you?
not? You mocked me.
How dare you? This is
What was the
Dabney
what was the
Coleman.
one the A Good Day to Die Hard? That's the one you abandoned me on.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Weirdly, I'm actually kind of jazzed. I'm kind of energized. I
Mhm.
just don't have more titles. Like I feel pretty satisfied with all the ones we did.
Mhm.
Give me another.
Yeah. Guitar table.
Guitar table.
Guitar table.
Okay, guitar table. It's about no, I got nothing.
Pen, music stand.
Are you just looking around the room and saying things you see?
These are movies.
They're great titles.
Yeah, I tried to throw it out to people. Like when I knew we were going to do this, I didn't know what the full demand was going to be, but it was such a
Sure.
short demand. It was hard not to put all the context clues together. I did try to throw it out there online before we recorded to see if any of our listeners or any of our friends had something to chime in. So let me just go to that real quick and see if any of these titles go like, and if anyone answered the call. So, for example, Motorhome Massacre, great title, but awful, boring slasher. I've never even heard of it. Motorhome Massacre.
No, I've not heard of it.
I'd
either.
imagine it would just be a survival slasher movie, like a machete wielding maniac
Mhm.
taking out a motorhome and the people fighting back, right?
Yeah.
Battle Beyond the
Like
Stars.
that's the thing. Like, so I'm trying to imagine. Like, okay, so what? Because I see this list now too.
Yeah.
I'm trying. So they loved that title, Motorhome Massacre,
Mhm.
and wanting to give that credence, wanting to, because I have a feeling it's not, that title isn't hitting us the way it hit that person,
Mhm.
that studio. So what could we do to inject ourselves with the fun of that?
It's a motorhome that's massacring.
I'm in, right? Like I was just two synapses behind you, and you got there, and like that.
It's
Yeah,
a
making a
murdering-
monster movie
it's a
rather than a
murdering-
slasher.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
It's a murdering motorhome. And like I'm not talking like Transformer like or like Duel.
No.
I like
like
slimy
like
tentacle.
Stephen King's The Mangler, but good.
Yeah.
Like
it's basically The Boy and His Heron, right?
it's Christine.
Mm.
It's Christine, but a motorhome instead of a car.
Right. But in The Boy and the Heron, when the old man is inside the heron and like it just grossly like he like his face comes out of the beak.
Sure, yeah.
Like the motorhome isn't all mechanical. There's like a slimy,
it's an entity,
gross
yeah.
entity inside of
Yeah.
it that's like contained within the motorhome.
And when some characters, not necessarily the heroes, go inside to try to find the missing people,
Yeah.
like eventually, like you see the wood paneling, the faux wood paneling walls bend out,
Yeah.
and like you see teeth kind of shoot from behind them,
Yeah,
and
they're in
Yeah.
they're in the thing's mouth already. Like the
Yeah.
motorhome is an entity. It's just an evil entity in the middle of like it gets dropped off by some
Mhm.
unseen thing. Like, hey, there's a new neighbor in town. Who lives in that house? I don't know. Maybe they'll show up, and then little by little, it starts destroying, killing me. It starts tremoring this
Yes.
mobile home.
yes.
Just
Ooh, maybe what if it's not just this mobile? Like that is how it got here.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, a la Tremors,
Mhm.
it is able to move from mobile home to mobile home.
itself.
So, like some people, like it
Oh.
chews people up in one motorhome, and then like other characters, like we're gonna get it, let's go
No,
destroy it.
yeah.
But they destroy a normal motorhome because it is moved.
It's like a hermit crab.
Three of them over.
Like
yes.
a hermit crab. It like
Yeah.
changes shells.
Yes.
And then so like it starts like a shitty little like pole trailer. Like just
a teardrop trailer.
Yeah, like a teardrop trailer, and slowly like gets
Well, no, it has
big,
to be a mobile home. Well, no, it doesn't have to.
it upgrades itself until it takes over like the mayor of the mobile homes, like
Sure.
big mansion mobile thing. It's just this like beast of a thing.
It shows up in a U-Haul that's abandoned at the back of their motorhome.
Yeah, yeah.
Thing, and like they don't like they try getting someone to tow it away. No one's come to take this thing.
Yeah.
And that's how it showed up, because the backstory that we don't necessarily get is that's how someone else got rid of it. They managed to lure this thing into a
Into a
U-Haul
tiny
truck,
thing, yeah,
and moved it.
and then abandon it
And
somewhere.
because not our problem now.
So this escalates to this thing like in the largest mobile home.
Yes.
How do they destroy this thing?
I think they have to burn down the whole.
We got to burn down the whole mobile home.
Yeah, not just
The
the whole
house.
park.
The whole park, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like light
like-
it up and just
It was something like I have this vision of like a helicopter shot near the end, like the whole place burning, and like you see you get a few shots of like from the people running through the drives, lighting stuff.
Mhm.
You see this mobile home basically like lift up and run, and then you get this helicopter shot of the burning trailer park, because it's going to be like adjacent to a desert or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, middle of nowhere.
or no, motorhome. It's got to be Tornado Alley.
Okay.
Right. So,
Oklahoma,
either way, flat kind of brush kind of thing. So you get this very clear shot of at night the whole park burning, and you just see one of these trailers just lurch away from the whole thing on fire.
Weird, like a squid-like tentacles,
Yeah.
like running with, like,
Kind
trying
of.
to get away.
It doesn't necessarily get very far.
Yeah, we can't let it go. Can't
Yeah.
get down. Take it down.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The home is gone mobile. No, I
Yeah.
don't want to put that line in there. I don't want that line in there.
Do we want to draw from Tremors? Do we have some sort of like doomsday preppers, like some dude has a cannon or like
No,
a mini tank?
If anything, I'd crib from Trailer Park Boys to just get a cat. I'd want. Do you see Second Amendmenters as like trailer park people? I'd want it to be trailer park people.
Sure. Oh, sure.
And I don't know if preppers are really trailer park people.
Okay, that's fine. I just was wondering if we could work a tank into this to fight this thing. We're basically fighting.
No,
a
they
redneck.
they would have to improvise one.
It's like a redneck Godzilla. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to like take this
Kind
thing
of
out.
that'd be fun if someone said that.
Yeah, was that Mobile Home Massacre?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to call it.
Now I'm into that title.
Yeah. And they win in the end, right? They have to burn down their entire home.
Yeah,
but they destroy this
it's
thing.
a Pyrrhic. It's a The Thing victory.
Yes.
Sort of. Although I have my feelings about The Thing.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Let me give credit to who sent that in. That was Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it? Let me make sure I get that right.
Yep. I don't know if we. Well, I
No, it was Sean. Yeah, Sean Jolly's the one who suggested Mobile Home Massacre. A different Sean said Killdozer. Which
isn't even. Oh,
I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Sorry, Sean. We don't know. We don't know your person reference.
We feel your passion, Sean. Other Sean, Shane.
Oh, and apparently whoever Marvin Haymeyer is, Heemeyer, got it from that movie.
So some good came out of it. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you. Okay, so Elton, how did we do? Did we take some bad titles and make some better movies out of them? I don't.
I hope so.
I'd like to think so. I don't think that, like, for example, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's a bad movie. I just know it's a cool title. And knowing that it's
documentaries like often do. Like now that I think about it, there was the Netflix one. Like, was it Evil Genius?
Yeah. It was about.
There's a very compelling title, and it's about people who were not like purposely. That's why they used the title.
Yeah.
They were not smart.
It was the pizza neck bomb jerks.
Yeah.
Not funny. But yeah, The Man Who Killed Hitler and then Bigfoot, or then The Bigfoot, Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Undead, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, A Million Ways to Die in the West, and Old Habits Die Hard. But I think that's going to do it for the episode. But we'd love to know if we met the demand today. I'd like to think we did, but hit us up if you agree or disagree, if you think we missed anything. Also let us know if any of these, like, we should expand upon, because if any one of these are like fodder for the finale, this might be like our music episode, which we did earlier this season, which had several ideas in it.
Sure.
And there might be something in there that people are like, no, that one should be up for consideration.
Old Habits Die Hard.
Yes. You can message us directly at studiodemands.com or on Instagram at Studio Demands It. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to us on any podcast listener of your choice. And if you feel like giving us a little review, you can do that in-app, and it really helps us with the algorithm. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok, where we post video content, including material not heard here on the show. Jim, you have material to pitch now, too, in the outro here.
Oh, yeah, I suppose I do. So there's a Discord button on our website. You can join us on our Discord, get some conversation going. And get me to stop lurking. I'm an internet lurker by habit, and I'm trying to partake in more conversations. Also, we have a subreddit, Studio Demands It. Just look that up and come join us there. Having some good
old times,
good threads going on. Yeah.
Cool. Massive thank you to 6.5 Media for everything they do for us. Please, if you feel so inclined, check out the other 6.5 shows. A lot of video game stuff if you're into that sort of thing. I'd like to make a nice mention of Returning Student, which is a documentary series that David has been producing based on his returning to Columbia, the college, not the country. And it is very well done. Like it is,
cool.
it is very well produced. It's documentary, it's narrative. It really, really is a lot of fun. I can't recommend it enough. But that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back again soon with one of your demands to challenge ourselves to hopefully improve the world of cinema. But that's it. I'm TC.
And I'm Jim.